This meets that. This meets that. You pick this and I'll pick that. We'll put them together and what do you get? A movie we describe as this meets that. This meets that. Yeah!
Welcome back to This Meets That. It's the podcast where we take two movies, mash them up, and make a third movie where you would describe it as This Meets That. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, Ben. I'm now a dad.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
There's been a lull in episodes because of this baby.
I know. I'm sorry. I tried to tell my wife. I have to get my priorities straight now that a child's here. This podcast is number one. The child's number two. Everything else is also number two.
Even like pooping? Pooping is on the same level as your child?
Yes. I mean, that is a necessity for me to survive.
That's true.
So if I put that on the back burner, Anyway, if I put that on the back burner, it could affect my life. Now I'm stressed because I got all this buildup that I'm not adhering to in the proper amount of time. So I'm taking that on my child and my wife. Not physically. Oh God, cut this. I just mean like the stress will just make me more agitated and not make me the optimal father that I need to be. So pooping is up there on the list.
Okay. I'm just surprised that everything else is also on the same level as your child.
Well,
not level 3.
I mean, he's brand new. I barely know the guy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not doing a regular episode, but because Steve hasn't seen anything in the past 3 weeks.
I've been busy not sleeping.
Little preoccupied. So we're filling the gap with This Meets That. And it's been 4 months, did I say, since we've done it? And the last one, I mean, it was 4 months since I released one. And it's usually a month or two after we record it. So it could be closer to 6 months since we've actually recorded one of these. So as the theme song and the intro already explained, we're just going to pick two movies at random. We're going to try to mash them up and try to make something. We're going to try to polish a turd or spin straw into gold. Steve, do you have a movie?
I do.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Armageddon. Huh.
Yeah.
Air and Armageddon.
I figured I'd go a newer route and see if we could. There's the big. Oh, we're making movies about products now this year.
And we got Tetris, Air,
Blackberry,
the Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie.
Is that this year?
It is this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's one other that's escaping me right now. But yeah, that's kind of the year of the corporate biopic.
Yeah. So let's see if we can do a corporate biopic in space.
For Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Okay, so Armageddon, oil drillers go to space to drill a big hunk of rock that's hurtling towards Earth to try to destroy it before it destroys us. And Air is making new shoes for Michael Jordan and to save the company. Huh. Well, okay. I would say maybe this one. You remember Don't Look Up?
Yeah.
That was a very corporate-y, political side of handling a natural disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So
it kind of
is.
Okay.
I don't think I would ever describe Don't Look Up as Air meets Armageddon. But I think that's already kind of done.
It would be in that genre for sure. That would be a good double feature.
Yeah.
Our movie that we would just come up with now and Don't Look Up. Sure.
Or it could just be. I don't know the production of Armageddon and if it was troubled. I know there was like Ben Affleck and Michael Bay had a little spat because Ben Affleck exposed why this plot was kind of stupid and he just told him to shut up. But so you take a movie that does have a troubled production, and we'll just use Armageddon as the example, and you make it about the company, the studio who makes the movie going, we need a new hit. How are we going to make our budget? This studio's going under, and they pull out the script that they've been holding on to for years, and it's Armageddon. And it's this big risk, and it's more of a documentary on the making of something.
Okay.
That would be kind of the Air version.
Yeah, because and there's been so many movies made about movie making. If there's something Hollywood loves, it's tooting their own horn about filmmaking. But we haven't seen a ton of movies from, I feel like, producer's standpoint. It's always a director trying to get a movie made, or writers trying to get their script bought, or actors who are, this is my passion project and we need to get this movie made. Where what if you take sort of the you remember Argo?
Yeah.
That
Another
was
Ben Affleck movie.
another Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, wait, we have Ben Affleck in both of our movies.
Oh
Why does
yes.
that happen so often?
Huh. He's just in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That even though those guys, well, it was he was a member of the FBI or whatever, CIA, whatever he was, Ben Affleck, and then he teamed up with two producers to kind of make a fake movie, even though they never shot anything. But that could be kind of fun because producers always typically in Hollywood movies come off as just shitty money guys who just want the thing to get made and they don't care about the artistic creativity. Whereas like, oh, well, what if we do a movie with producers where they actively want to fulfill the director's vision and it's them working very hard because they believe in this script and they believe in this young filmmaker, and it is a risk because maybe it's his first feature and it's just kind of about from the producer's standpoint, and you see all the process of how this movie gets made in a fun, exciting way in the fast-paced world of Hollywood. And it's not really about the creation of it's not about the shooting of the movie, but it's how to get the movie just started. Okay. And then that movie becomes a hit. Maybe it's about Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is pretty much like watch the bonus feature for Lord of the Rings and see all the behind the scenes stuff.
All that can be answered. It's not a secret. But then again, I guess anyone who looked up the history of Michael Jordan's shoes could figure all this out anyway. So history's there for a reason. It's been written. Because I don't think you could pull this if we're doing Air meets Armageddon, and we're not even talking about space. I guess it would have to be a space film if we're really trying to incorporate Armageddon.
Yeah, it would just be like, this is going to be the next big Star Wars, and like this is like, you know, Disney making John Carter of Mars, and this is the next thing. This is the thing that inspired Star Wars. This is the thing that inspired fantasy and sci-fi for years after it was published. Now we're doing the movie. This is going to be our big new project. And it fucking tanks. And then they go, well, fuck it. Just let's go buy Star Wars. Let's stop trying to make our own Star Wars and let's just make new Star Wars. So it would have to be something maybe like that. The production of John Carter.
That super successful Taylor Kitsch movie.
Yes. Yeah, but for our movie, it would have to be a fake movie.
Sure.
Like, did you ever see State in Maine? It's got William H. Macy and Philip Seymour Hoffman and what's her fucking name? Sarah Jessica Parker and Julia Stiles, and it's like this. From what I remember, like this really good script that they get a hold of, and they come into this small town to try to film it, and they're greedy people trying to get the most out of this production. And Sarah Jessica Parker's in it just because she's an actress who shows her boobs all the time, and so they're putting her in the movie. But now she's had this realization of, I don't want to be that type of actress, so she's refusing to do it. And then you have they're running out of money, so they have like a computer company that wants product placement, but it takes place in like the 1600s. And like, how the fuck do we do product placement for a computer in this type of movie? And it's all kind of the troubles of what it's like dealing with all the behind the scenes things of a movie, which a lot of movies have done this. So I think it would be a lot like that. You just swap it for a big budget sci-fi film that could potentially tank this studio, and everything hangs on this one producer because he found that writer. He found this script that nobody wanted to do. He found this new director, and he's going to make it work even though he has shitty actors. You know, this director has his head up his ass because he thinks he's the next greatest thing because he maybe had one hit before. And it's this one guy trying to juggle everything because if he hits it big, this is going to be the biggest thing. And maybe he hasn't had a lot of luck in the industry in the last few years. Maybe he was the golden boy in the 70s and 80s. Hasn't had a hit, and this is his last hurrah before he goes out. Something like that.
Yeah, the only problem with that, and it's interesting because you can see something like Air where you know the outcome. You know that shoe becomes the shoe and makes Michael Jordan $1 billion. but to see the struggle is what's interesting, and you know the ending, but you're still like, this journey is exciting or edge of your, not saying air is edge of your seat, but I just mean that it's interesting to watch these normal people struggle. Where if we do a movie where it's a fake movie, we don't know if the movie's going to be a success or not.
Sure.
That's the interesting part. But at the same time, you don't have to be invested because this movie isn't real.
Yeah, you could just say it's great. You could show a clip and it could be garbage to us, the audience, but in universe, they go, wow, this is a hit.
Yeah. So I don't know if it would get picked up, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
We might need to do a different one because maybe I'm out of practice, but I don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean,
we kind of just
the good thing about This Meets That is, like, we don't have to get the specific details of this. This is a vague enough idea because anything that we come up with doesn't really matter because it's the concept really for this more than the specifics.
Sure.
So
but I like when we get specific.
Me too. I just want to say the director of this is Ben Affleck. It's going to be, this seems like right up his alley.
Sure, yeah.
It's like Argo, and it's about 2 movies that he was already in. So Ben Affleck is directing this movie.
Ben Affleck writing, directing, starring.
Yes. But we got to at least try to put a title to this, So about movie production, something about space, blockbuster hit, flop. What kind of title would this be?
All right, Steve, dust off the cobwebs. Here we go. You call it Planet. Plan. Space,
Plan
IT. Plan the movie, but it's about space. Planet.
Okay.
God damn, I'm good.
I think that's as good as it's going to get, so... Plan it.
He's a producer. He's planning all the, doing all that stuff. Yeah, it's
perfect. I love that. That works really well. Cool. All right, let's go on to the next one.
I don't love my next choice as much.
I don't know.
It was kind of I'll just pick whatever.
Yeah.
But let's not toss it out because it may be gold.
You never know. We'll give it a try. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
A
Green
Star is
Mile.
Born.
Green Mile and A Star is Born.
This could be fun.
Okay. I haven't seen A Star is Born, but tell me if I'm wrong. Guy, down on his luck, music industry guy, finds the next big thing. She becomes the next big thing. He gets left in the dust and he dies. They fall in love somewhere in between.
They fall in love, but you basically got the major gist.
Okay.
And I picked A Star is Born because when I was...
See, A Star is Born would be a good name for the previous movie we were talking about.
I was just about to make that joke, but I was like,
yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I'm more proud of Planet. Anyway, I only picked A Star is Born because it's the one movie I kind of got to see while I was in the hospital. It was just, we had a TV, and it was just the only thing that was on at the time. So I got to watch A Star is Born. So I was like, I'll pick it.
Was that your first time seeing it?
No, I've seen it in theaters.
Have you seen any of the other versions?
No, why would I? I don't care.
Ew, that's like an 80s movie. Yucky.
It's been made, I think, four times.
Yeah,
I don't need to see it. If it's going to be the same story, just a different time period.
Yeah. But you get to see Barbra Streisand.
Anyway. So Star is Born and The Green Mile.
Yeah. So, that was a synopsis for Star is Born, Green Mile. A man and his crew run the Green Mile, which is the last legs for people who are on death row. Was it back in the 40s? 30s?
I'll say the 40s. Yeah.
And the Green Mile is just because like the tile is kind of olivey green, and the worst of the worst come here, and we get a gentle giant in Michael Clark Duncan.
Yep, correct.
R.I.P. Who maybe has magical powers and starts changing the lives of the guards, and they're kind of, their hand is forced in having to put this guy sentence this guy to death, even though this could be one of God's miracle men. Great movie.
I love it. Yeah.
the joke of him not being able to piss because he has some sort of like infection, some urinary tract infection. Then he gets healed, and then he like fucks his wife all night long, and like you just see the sun go down, and then its lights come up, and they're still going at it. I love that joke. But I think the idea of Tom Hanks having sex is kind of weird. I can't imagine him like talking dirty or anything. But
Anyway,
okay, Star is Born, Green Mile. So you can go okay, first thing off the top of my head.
okay, I got one, but I imagine it's probably what you're thinking. But go ahead.
Maybe. So, up and coming musician has a gift, an ability of some kind. Either they're so good with lyrics they could come up with a hit song on the spot. They're amazing on any instrument they touch.
A prodigy.
Something.
Yeah.
But they, through the rock and roll lifestyle, they get involved with something that they get blamed for the death of a groupie, or a fire breaks out at a concert and kills a ton of people, and they are proven guilty of this regardless of how much they were actually at fault. So this person goes to prison, and I was thinking there'd be a lot of rival gangs, a lot of hate in this prison. You have the white versus black and different sort of communities. And he's able to like unify them through the power of music, and he's teaching people. But there's too much evidence against him. They have to put him to death too, and all the, it starts a riot, and the prisoner's like, how dare you take away this musical genius, this person that has only done good and has gotten blamed for this crime that they may not have done. I don't know. That's my first dregs of an idea.
Yeah, I mean, that was more or less where I was going. I was going to kind of get rid of the musical powers, per se.
Okay. I just wanted to add as much Green Mile in it besides prison and death.
Yeah. But I think you're on the right track of, you have a musician who's in the rock and roll lifestyle who does drugs and drinks too much, and that's probably, he was supposed to turn off. I mean, whatever. It's just, there's a fire at the concert event, and a bunch.
Make sure
of
you turn your amp off when you switch songs to blah blah blah. It's got frayed wires.
Or there was pyrotechnics that weren't
sanctioned
correctly, because he was just like, because he drunkenly signed something that he wasn't supposed. Whatever it was. Basically, he's at fault for killing a bunch of people at this concert, because the band was able to get away, but
not to sidetrack or anything, but you know how doors for big places that hold a lot of people, they have to swing out?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was like a concert where a fire broke out and all the doors to exit swung in, but they all stampeded to the doors and no one could get it open because they were crushed up against it, and a ton of people died. I don't know. Maybe that's a kind of a fun idea, fun in quotes, to use for this. Yeah. I don't know. Anywho,
basically, he gets blamed for the death of all these people. Yes, he goes to prison, and I think it'd be kind of a fun if you make him an Elvis Presley type, because Elvis Presley was obviously somebody, and then, I mean, it's just been a rock and roll staple of just, here's this person who comes out with this music. It seems too sexual. It seems to
a little too dark, too wild,
too
whatever
dark.
it is.
It's hurting our children. That kind of bullshit. Yeah. It's like, what if that person actually went to jail for a serious crime, like the community outside of the prison, the public doesn't like him because he represents bad
counterculture.
Yeah, he's the bad boy of rock and roll. Mm-hmm. He's hurting the children, and here he is. He was proven right because he killed all these people, and maybe they'll say, oh, he did this on purpose because it was a way to worship Satan and all this kind of stuff.
He's just the scapegoat,
and so he's labeled as this devil, this evil person, even though he just wants to play music, man. That's all he cares about. He wants to make people feel good. And maybe a bunch of the prison guards kind of feel the same way. It's like, oh yeah, my daughter tried to listen to his music, and it's just not for me because they're a bunch of old coots or whatever. And there's there's a new guy on the staff who they're kind of showing the ropes. It's like, I kind of like his music, and it's kind of just, it's just them butting heads. It's like, you don't know anything, kid. And maybe that young prison guard kind of starts up, not necessarily a friendship, but, he's in prison. He still gets to play from time to time. Maybe some of the guards who don't like him are at one point smashes a guitar, but he's able to get something back, or he's just playing. He can play anything, so he's just making music in his cell, he's playing the drums on his bunk or something like that.
Yeah, on the toilet.
Yeah, and he's just making sweet, sweet music, and that kind of his positive energy just becomes infectious to the other prisoners, and maybe it's just kind of like you said, where it's not necessarily he's eradicating hate, but he's going, hey man, black guys, maybe you love the blues. White guys maybe love country. We can mold those together and sort of...
And do bluntry.
do bluntry. Yeah. And you just take, we're not so different, you and I, kind of ideas.
Yeah.
And they all just kind of jam out. And I think you just have this really big sort of... The climax of the movie is he's going to die tomorrow. And he's got kind of one last show kind of thing. And he just plays music for everybody. But maybe everyone in the prison also is, it's like, he's getting marched off. And so everyone in the prison, you have a Shawshank thing where they all kind of stand and listen to the opera singer scene. But this time everyone's playing music for him as he's going on to face his mortal
they're all
coil.
playing their prison bars and stuff.
Yeah, it could, they have the thing where they're taking the cup and going against the bars to make noise. It's kind of a symbol of uniformity or whatever.
Sure.
But instead of doing that, they're making music, and it's beautiful, and the guards are just like, man, maybe we were wrong about this guy this whole time, kind of thing. Really, and evidence comes to light later that, his roadie guy was the one who fucked up but he's already dead, and they all learned their lesson. And I think that's actually like a pretty solid movie concept there.
Okay.
Okay,
well, let me flip it around a little bit. So say you have a guy who's in prison, maybe he's been there for a while, and everybody loves him. He's the old head of the prison, but he sure knows how to play that guitar. He knows how to sing. He's a Johnny Cash type person. And this record label guy is visiting his, I don't know, client, brother, someone. He's visiting someone in prison and happens to hear this guy's voice. And he, with all of his power in the industry and stuff, is maybe able to get this guy out of prison early. And he's like, I'm going to make this guy a star. And he helps his career. He becomes a big blues, folksy musician, and maybe he doesn't really want it. He's very thankful that he got out of prison early, but because maybe he was set to die there. He knew he was going to be there forever. And so being on the outside world now after 40, 50 years is very scary to him, and he doesn't know how to cope with the outside world. But his music is really affecting a lot of people, but he never really wanted any of that, and he would take his own life, not being able to handle it. And then so other people would say, oh, look, he got out of prison and he did that rock star life, and he just followed down the same path they all did. But it really wasn't that. It was like, what's his face in Shawshank, not being able to handle the outside world.
What was his name?
Hoops, scoops, piles, nails, whatever.
All of them, yeah. The guy with the crow.
Yeah. So it would be that. And then, this producer guy feels so incredibly guilty because this guy was living a perfectly happy life, doing his little music, being well respected within the prison system, and had already resolved for that to be the rest of his life. And then he took him out of his element and forced this thing upon him that he didn't want. Maybe forced him to reconnect with people who never wanted to see him again, maybe an estranged son or daughter. Maybe he did something to someone bad and they thought he was going to be away forever, and now he's out, and how dare you be walking amongst us, because you are actually a really bad guy. Just because you're good at music and you've spent 40 years in prison doesn't mean you're actually reformed. I don't know. I think you can take this either way.
I think your movie sounds like a real bummer. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of happiness going on there.
No.
Not that movies always have to be happy.
Yeah, like Green Mile is a happy movie. Like Stars Born is a happy movie.
Green Mile's got some happiness. There's some joy, and there's some jokes.
And then
it just rips your heart out.
When what's his name? Mr. Noodle from Elmo. You know the guy I'm talking about. Do you know Mr. Noodle from Sesame Street? He's always in the Elmo sketches.
He's not really like a Sesame Street kid, but are you talking about the guy with the mouse?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, his name is like Belacqua or something. He had a French name. And then he gets electrocuted with no sponge and he just, there's some really bad, dark stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't think we could do much more on that one. So what would we name something like this? What's a star when it's brand new? Star is Born, and because I was thinking like Green Thumb. Oh, when you have a green thumb, you're good at gardening. Is there a colored term when it comes to music? That boy sure got pink lungs,
I mean, there's like silver tongue. That's more of a charming
a liar sort of thing.
Yeah. But when you're singing,
Star behind bars.
Well, there is bars in music.
Oh yeah.
So,
do you say like singing bars, or do you say hitting bars, or?
I mean, usually when I hear the term bars, it's a hip hop thing.
Yeah. Like notes and bars, and like people are passing notes in prison because of shankings. I don't know. Notes and bars kind of sounds good because like you're doing musical notes, you're behind bars. Bars is also a musical thing.
Yeah. I mean, you call it something if you're going kind of a dreary route, the last note or something like that, because he's going to may or may not be going to his death.
What do they call it when you're walking to the? Is it just like your final walk or the walk, or because you have your final meal and then you? Isn't the walk called to something?
I think you just call it the last or your final walk or something like that. So there's a line to
Don't say it, Steve.
There's a line to the executioner's chair, and he's gonna walk it. And boy,
it's called line walkers.
Yeah, line walkers. There it is. And he's gonna walk that line hard. Yeah, go with like notes on the bars or something.
Or just notes and bars.
Notes and bars, I feel kind of sounds like they're at a bar making music. Could be, but if you say notes on the bars or behind the bars, yeah, notes behind the bars. There you go. That's the one. It's not necessarily the most clever, but it's layered. It's there.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to try one more? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to come up with a third.
Yeah, because we're only at like a half hour, and after I cut out all of our long pauses of thinking of what a title is, we need to at least hit 45 minutes. Well, I have two movies.
Oh no.
I don't know which one I want to use.
My internet's terrible right now. Fuck it, I'll just come up with one on the spot. Hopefully I haven't used it before. I've never seen a movie before. Oh my god.
Is there more than two movies?
And it's funny because movies that I've never seen pop up into my brain. Yeah. And it's like, I know what they're kind of about, but I don't necessarily pick them and go, well, I never really saw it.
Yeah.
I'll pick another one I saw moderately recently. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Banshees of Inisherin. What did you say?
Cliffhanger.
I never saw
Stallone. Yeah, but he's a mountain rescue guy. He goes to save someone on this line. Can't hold on. You saw Ace Ventura too.
Yeah. I saw the spoof of that.
Yeah. So he does that. The people die, and then he's gotta give it up. He's not a cliffhanger anymore.
Well, that's a pretty good Schwarzenegger.
Thank you. Actually, it was Van Damme.
Oh, damn it.
So yeah, then he retires, but then bad guys are on the slopes and they're doing a Die Hard. It's Die Hard on a mountain.
Okay.
So instead of Cliffhanger, I could have said Die Hard. I know we haven't picked Die Hard, but this adds a more physical aspect to it. It puts it in a certain location. It is an action movie. John Lithgow is the bad guy. I don't know if that helps. I think Wesley Snipes as well is one of them.
This movie's got everything.
So it's just got like fun avalanche deaths, and someone gets like thrown into an icicle hanging from the roof. Yeah, it's that type of movie. It's a Stallone action movie. And you said what?
The Banshees of Inisherin.
Okay.
So Banshees of Inisherin, two best friends living on a small island in Ireland, where one of the friends decides, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, and the turmoil it causes within the very small community of this Irish island.
Yes.
Dark comedy and 80s action flick.
90s.
Or 90, okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
So you have... You have two best friend rock climbers,
Okay.
and they love climbing rocks. They're brothers in all sense of the term because they spend so many hours up there. Practically Brokeback Mountain. They've been up on this mountain so long, they're doing tours with groups, and maybe there's one group, and there's a punk teenager who kind of is just like, I'm too cool. I don't need to follow all the rules. Yada yada yada. Hilarity ensues. The line isn't secure right or whatever, and they each kind of blame each other for what happened. And there's like, well, you didn't secure the line, well, you didn't do this, and so it just causes the entire group that they are like in charge of.
Okay,
so they both
let's make it ultra tragic. It's a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Sure,
real young.
Yeah,
does not deserve this.
And so all those people that they're with die, and they blame each other because it should have been, well, you didn't do this, well, you didn't do this, so they haven't been friends for a while.
Okay.
So they decide to, but they still love mountain climbing. They kind of, you stay on this side of the mountain, you stay on this side of the mountain, but maybe one of them kind of gets a job where there's a group, and they're like, hey, we want you to take us to the mountain. He's like, oh, well, I don't really do that anymore. It's like, well, we'll pay you a bunch of money. And he was like, well, okay, well, I'll do it. And he's climbing, but it's on his buddy's side of the mountain. So they're climbing, and they run into each other. But what you find out is that the group that hired the rock climber guy, there's gold up in them hills, and there's they believe they've found a secret lair. Let's just say it's in the California mountains. I assume there's mountains in California, right?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. I've never been to California. Well, I've been once, but I was like 4. Anyway, so there was a gold rush. It's now we're pulling from City Slickers, and there's a cave somewhere in these mountains, and they know where it's at, and it's very hard to get to. So they need the two best guy, or one of the best guys, and he kind of runs into his buddy, and they still don't like each other, but they realize, oh, these guys are murderers, and they're going to take this gold and do bad stuff, so they have to team up, even though they hate each other. Hilarity ensues, and they have to take down the bad guys on this mountaintop before they escape. And if you ask me, well, why don't they just hire a helicopter? Because they're bad guys.
The weather is really bad. Like they would say, we have a helicopter, it's down at base camp, but the weather's picked up. We can't do it. So, okay.
Maybe one guy has been climbing this whole time because it's his passion. But the other guy's riddled with guilt, where it's like, did I do the wrong thing, or did he do no? It had to have been him. So maybe he's not as good as rock climbing anymore, and that's why they kind of need each other, because one's weaker than the other one. So it's like, oh, you're big and strong, you're the action guy, but I'm the smart one or something. And you have they work together in tandem.
Oh, called In Tandem? Yeah, that's probably... I'll write it down.
Damn, I'm good. Because that's like the name of the line, right? Or tandem line. I know tandem, there's tandem bikes and stuff, and that means two people, but...
Okay, if it was still the Boy Scouts, I can see the bad guys being one of the parents of the kids. You guys are so irresponsible. and you couldn't even do your jobs right, and your petty bickering, you got all these kids killed. So
Yeah,
now,
that shitty kid who's probably he was the one who was really at fault, got all of his troop killed. That would be the thing. But his dad is that was why he was such a shitty kid, because his dad is a shitty father who was a leader of this gang of thugs. I didn't mean to interrupt you. There you go.
and so then the quote unquote bad guy is forcing these two to do, I don't want to say an obstacle course, but like puts them in the worst conditions and says, well, you guys got all these kids killed, can't work together. Now you have to, if you want to try to survive this thing, you have to work together. And it's just them trying to get across somewhere, get down from the mountain and work together. But I don't quite love that. So what if it was both of the Cliffhanger guys, they're relatively young, they're about the same age, and the person that dies is one of their girlfriends.
Okay.
It could be his fiance, and it's the other one's sister. You killed my sister. No, you killed my future wife. That, I think it has a little more, it's a little more personal than just a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Sure. But now we not only kill that girl, but their entire family. You killed my in-laws. You killed my parents.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole big family trip right before the wedding.
Yeah. Isn't that something on, like, there's a skiing thing? I don't know what I'm getting off topic. But I kind of wish I chose my other pick, which was Bubble Boy. And I just put Bubble Boy in all the Colin Farrell scenes. And there you go. That's the movie.
I love Bubble Boy.
But like a 1920s bubble, you know, they didn't even have like see-through plastic at the time.
That just seems like a Wes Anderson film.
Yes, that does. Have you seen the trailer for the Asteroid City?
I don't care. Visually, all those movies visually, cool looking.
Yeah.
But
this is the first one I'm actually somewhat interested in.
Just because it has aliens?
No, just because it doesn't have the same fucking people. It has like half of the same people that he uses,
It's
but it has
the same people.
But it has like Maya Hawke, it has Scarlett Johansson, it has Tom Hanks. They've never been in a Wes Anderson movie before.
I want to say Scarlett was in one of them, maybe. Doesn't matter.
I'm going to say no. I think it does look fun, and the aliens does add
Sure.
a little spice to it. Better than a fucking exotic marigold hotel or whatever the fuck.
Grand Budapest.
Grand Budapest Hotel. It's one of those grand hotels.
Yeah, he's just one of those directors where I think enjoy half of his work and really don't like the other half of his work. But anyway,
back to Cliffhanger. Okay, so if it's called In Tandem, what if because of this situation they get hooked together and they have to work together because, you know, they can't separate at all for whatever reason. They lost the key, something. They're hooked by X amount of line.
Well, yeah, I think if you do the thing where the parent of the dead kid, or even if it's you, I wouldn't be. I was gonna say if it was the guy's girlfriend, maybe his dad, or her dad. I mean, is the one who's you killed my daughter, so I'm doing this to you. But then you couldn't have the sister connection because it's not gonna kill his son too.
Yeah, but so it could be they both loved her. She was promised to marry the other one. Maybe the guy one dated her when they were younger. It didn't work out, but they stayed friends. Then she is engaged to guy two, his best friend. He thinks guy one says, "I'm happy for you guys," but he's held a resentment all this time.
Okay, but I was just gonna say, you do a thing where if you guys, I'm cutting all your lines. There's only one line that you guys have, and it has been sort of you're incapable of breaking this line because maybe it's a industrial steel thing, and it's handcuffed to their backs in some sort of way where
it's attached to their dicks. All Ted Lasso.
There's nothing you can do to break this line, so you guys have to climb this mountain together if you want to survive. And I don't think you are. So fuck off. And then he leaves. And so now you're forcing these two dudes who hate each other, who blame each other for the death of the girl that they love. And there's they have to free Solo essentially, but connected to each other. So if one falls, the other one's done for.
Yeah. And there could even be parts of like I can just kill you, and I can cut your body up, and I can slip you out of this thing, and then I don't have to have you tied to me anymore. And there could be that sort of threat. I hate you so much that maybe I'll let you die, and then I'll just take your body off the line.
Wait, how would that work?
So, like, say it's wrapped around their waist, and it's so tight, you can't slip out of it.
Uh-huh.
You kill the dude, and you start hacking him to pieces. Then you remove enough flesh from the body that you can slip him out of. Or snap his spine and separate him, something.
I understand the concept, but I'm saying if they're connected to the side of a mountain, let's say they're knocked out cold and they wake up on a little ledge or platform or hammock or whatever. And all right, now you guys need to climb up or down. It doesn't matter. You guys decide. Maybe one's like, I want to go down. Well, I want to go up. Whatever. But they're not equipped with knives or anything. How is he going to kill this guy? I
didn't expect them to be like climbing and someone sneaks up and attaches them together without them knowing.
I would think that they would not be on the mountain at the time. They're abducted or whatever, or they're about to climb, get knocked out, wake up in the middle of the climb.
Okay. See, I imagine that they would have already been connected as this is what you do for safety. Bad guy reveals himself and then forces them to do something. So like they have to at least even get to the edge of the cliff before they start climbing down. And because I wouldn't think the whole movie takes place on a cliff edge of some kind. There would have to be okay, we can walk down this hilly part before we have to actually climb down the
there
cliff
would be
face again.
Breaks and stuff, but they're not equipped with tools is what I imagine.
They wouldn't have a pickaxe just because you free climb. I mean, I guess he would have nothing. It would have to really be a completely bare bones thing, and they don't have anything.
Well, I mean, you could do that where the guy is like, I've applied with certain supplies at certain checkpoints climbing, because maybe there's this extreme climbing place where it's like only the best of the best can do this, but there are spots to rest, and when you get to this spot, there's a pickaxe. When you get to this spot, there's a flashlight. It's okay, do I beat this guy to death with a flashlight? Do I chop him up with the pickaxe, I guess? Or whatever. So yeah, there can be that kind of stuff. A little gruesome turn from you, Ben.
Hey, I if I'm strapped to this guy and I'm willing to kill him, I'll use my teeth and I'll start chewing chunks out of them.
I think just because they truly hate each other, they're not going to necessarily want to resort to murder.
They truly hate each other?
Lots of people hate each other, Ben, and wish the other person was dead, but doesn't mean they're going to go and murder them.
Well,
they would still have to answer to the police when they go to find this guy's body, assuming that
a bear got him and I was able to get away.
The bear cut him straight in half. They're using tools now.
It's just an idea, because it's not like they were tied by their spines, and it's like, if you try to separate this, you will die. Like, no, if it's just looped around your waist, I'll break your hips into dust and slosh you through this thing if necessary.
Just push you through like a go-gurt. Yeah. Gross. Okay. Well, I think we're getting off track here a little bit. I just imagine it as an uplifting story of climbing the mountain together and in tandem, and then defeating the bad guys.
But you don't have. I don't think you have enough banshees in there.
Fair enough. Well, there's going to be jokes. It's
the guy that decided to quit. One guy kept with it. One guy quit. He took up the fiddle, or he has a donkey. Hey, they take donkeys up
mountain goats stuff. It's like, my mountain goat Jenny, she's they can climb mountains with just their little hooves. It defies all laws of gravity. If we learn from her,
they get all on all fours and
immediately slip and die.
Yep.
I mean, there could be a little mountain climbing community and fun cast of characters, and maybe they're best friends, but it's kind of, we're best friends out of necessity because you're just the guy who's always been attached to me, but I've never really liked you that much. I loved her, and now you're all I got kind of thing. There's stuff you could work with. It's just, that's more character building, which we don't always do in these things. We're talking broad spectrum stories points, but there's plenty of Inisherin you could throw in there. It's just a matter of once we have the story, where do we branch out for those characters?
Yeah, I think you could even maybe play this a little sillier, and you have these two people who were the best climbers who were friends. Now they hate each other for whatever reason, and they're both big braggarts in the bar that they're at. Oh, I was the best. No, I was the best. Oh, you made me give it up. No, you never had it in you. And everybody's just fucking sick of them. And they go, okay, here's the thing. You have to climb that mountain. And whoever gets to the top, they're the best and you guys will have to shut up about this forever. So then it's almost kind of a silly race, and they're trying to sabotage each other as they go. And I don't know if you add a villain because they should just kind of be their own enemies, and someone could tie each other like he handcuffs his ankle to his ankle and like you're not going to get ahead of me, I'm going to get further than you. So then they do have to start working together. I don't know. I think you could play this a little more silly.
I mean, I could definitely see that movie. It definitely feels like an early 2000s Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, that group kind of comedy.
Sure. I was picturing what's his face from Asteroid City, and Scott Pilgrim and
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman. I was picturing him as one of the guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe an Adrian Brody for the other one. Get two big-nosed, dark-haired dudes, climbing rocks against each other.
Oh, my God. There's... I mean, we're losing a bit of the cliffhanger aspect of it.
Sure.
But, I mean, I guess if we're cutting out the action scenes and just doing... Well, now they're rock climbers. It still more or less works.
Sure. And especially if there's something tragic that happens in the beginning that makes them start bickering with each other. That's enough cliffhanger. That I think you need, because it really is just this tragic thing happened. I have this skill, and then it's just an action movie.
Okay. I like the comedy route that we're taking at the back end. So I'm going to say it's directed by early Adam McKay, starring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, since they did so well dueling against each other as Hans and Zoolander.
Yeah, and working together as Starsky and Hutch.
The year is 2007. I don't...
It's like Dodgeball era.
Yeah, Dodgeball era. That was 2005.
Year in that, Steve.
So you do it, early to mid 2000s, and they're dueling rock climbers, and they have to work together at a race to the top to see who's better, and maybe they have to work together to stop a thing. Yeah. You call it in tandem, and there's your movie.
Yeah. Can we have like a silly abominable snowman or something in it? A silly Yeti that saves their lives.
Well, I don't think you go. I think you hint that there is a Sasquatch on the mountain that people have like sworn they've seen, and you kind of get a hint that at one point, maybe one of them falls and you see him getting dragged away at some point into a dark cave, and oh no, it's the Sasquatch man, and it turns out to be, well, that's Will Ferrell, and he's just kind of and he's doing a silly mountain man kind of character, and he's just like, I've been up in these hills all these years, and I've been scaring everybody away because
he has a huge gold nugget.
He has a huge pile of gold that he's just
like, but I can't get down. But you guys are the first one to make it up this high. I'm gonna take your gear. And then he takes their gear, strands them and stuff, and now they have to work in tandem to get down the mountain, save their lives, stop the guy.
I love it.
It got better as it went, So yeah, and it's like Inisherin, in tandem, like it still has that same sort of. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
All right.
That was a good one.
I love the Planet title more, but I think our best movie is the last one.
Okay. I think I'd probably have the most fun watching Planet, just because I love movies about movies.
Sure.
A lot of times. Our notes behind bars, it would probably be one I skip, but would be the Oscar Beatty.
Sure, yeah.
They'd be like, it's like, Walk the Line meets whatever.
It's like the Green Mile meets a Star Wars.
Yeah. But this would be fun because I was even kind of maybe picturing once we got onto the Wes Anderson topic, I was kind of even imagining his style of like they made it to the top and it's like a really cheap set, with like sprinkling.
I can see that too. Sure.
It'd be fun.
And Ben Stiller has been in Wes Anderson films.
Yes, he has.
Okay, so we can either go really funny comedy or weirdo comedy.
Yeah, indie darling sort of thing. I think either could work. Yeah. And I want Will Ferrell as the prospector.
Oh, of course.
Have you seen the SNL sketch where he's the old
Yeah.
oh, peaches? It's one of the best sketches, and I know it's just one of their warm-up sketches to get all the giggles out, but it's so funny. And I mean, I hate Jimmy Fallon because he can't keep a straight face in any sketch, but that guy's just dying the whole time.
Yeah, because wasn't it
It's like a military
military?
debriefing.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we got to go get Donald Rumsfeld's niece or something. And, like, and then I'll sneak up and I'm gonna hit him with my pickaxe. And I'm like, no, you're gonna make too much sound, old prospectors.
With all those pots and pans.
Oh, peaches. All right, well, we save it in the end.
Yeah. We get there. We just need the right combo.
Sooner or later. Well, awesome. Well, this was another episode of This Meets That. If you have any movies you would like to see us mash up in any way, we'll take anything and we'll try to make it work, as you can see from the previous 6 movies. So hit us up at WRPL Podcast or on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, same name on all of them. I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And I don't have a sign off for this.